Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Thunder Today YouTube channel. I am your host, Dylan Hibbard, and in today's video, we're going to have some topics to go over, including who might be the next big Thunder rivalry, including team players, such like that. We'll dive into that. We'll talk about how NBA 2K26 has released their player rankings. We'll dive into the Thunders for all you video game fans and who kind of keeps in touch with 2K. It is also Jalen Williams Day in OKC. We'll give Jalen Williams his day or his topic, and then at the end we will talk about a possible trade candidate for the Thunder. But to start off, we're gonna dive into who might be the next OKC rivalry, as in like a team or things like that might be the next big rivalry for the Thunder, because I think throughout when it was the Russ and KD era, you had LeBron as the main one, but it was the Warriors, and then the Warriors, because KD went there, it kind of built that rivalry of Westbrook versus KD, so that Warriors Thunder. And not only that, but we blew the 3-1 lead to the Warriors, and then KD leaves, but a big part of that. But they haven't really had anybody since because they haven't really been competing at a high level for the past few years. So they haven't been in those key situations of like who might be a rivalry. And now the topic gets brought up because you have teams like the Nuggets now, who we just battled in 7 games, and we took down the best player in the world, and Shea ultimately kind of took that title of best player in the world from Jokic for at least this season. And a lot of people think it's the Nuggets. And then you have a team like the Rockets, where KD just joined them. They were the 2 seed. They were right behind us in seeding in regular season last year, and they only improved. They're just as young as us. They have all the players, so they're an option. And then you have, it could have been the Mavericks if Luka was still around and the Mavericks were still competing at a high level. But for me, I think it's one team that kind of stands out, and I think it's for 2 reasons: because of where that team is and the main player on that team. And the team I'm talking about is the San Antonio Spurs. And obviously the player I'm talking about is Wemby, because it feels like the NBA, with how LeBron, Curry, KD are all closing on their historic careers, the league kind of needs to find that next rivalry or like thing for fans to get into. Not even necessarily the face, but a rivalry I could see them trying to go towards is Wemby versus Chet, because obviously both unicorns. Chet wasn't able to stay healthy, but when these two have battled, they've both, it seems like, given it a bit extra, because they know that everybody compares those two. Obviously, they were going head to head for Rookie of the Year. Wemby was number 1 overall pick. Obviously, Chet was 2 in a different draft, but they went in the same. Chet was hurt, and they fought for Rookie of the Year, so they've been linked since then. And obviously, they're both unicorns, so that's going to help the cause as well. And it also helps now the Spurs are just in the spot it felt like the Thunder were about 2 years ago, where they have the star that they found. They have these young pieces that they've been able to get out of the draft. They have draft capital as well. And it feels like they're over. I don't think necessarily this year they're going to be contenders technically, but I think after this season, I think they're definitely right up there with teams competing to win the West. And I think for the next few years, we could definitely see a thing where we might see the Spurs 2 or 3 times in the playoffs, and it starts to become a thing, because now when you have Chet around for the next 5 years, if Wemby stays on the Spurs, those 2 teams are going to collide. It feels like it should be at least multiple times, in the next decade. So I feel like that's where the league is kind of wanting to go, just on a rivalry basis. And I think if the Spurs can become good this year, and it kind of push them into Western Conference contention, that might help fuel that rivalry anymore. But it's just kind of something to keep your eye on. I personally think the Spurs will be the main next rivalry, including the side of Chet versus Wemby as well. But we'll transition into the video game side of things for the Thunder and NBA 2K releasing their player ratings for their game this upcoming year, and a few ratings came out. The notable ones, will kind of give you the list of the top 10. Obviously, Shea is number 1. He's a 98 overall, tied with Jokic and Giannis for the highest overalls in the game. You have JDub at an 89, which I'm kind of shocked of. I thought after the finals JDub have, and especially finding out after that he was playing on a fractured wrist or whatever that might have been, he dropped 40. I feel like they would have given him that 99. He's an 89. I just feel like JDub did enough to get that 99 because obviously the 90s and 2K are like those top tier players, and I think JDub certainly earned that, but apparently 2K has thought he hasn't. And then Chet is number 3. He is at an 87, 2 below JDub. That kind of makes sense. I would guess Chet is in that 87, 88 range. Isaiah Hartenstein is actually 4th on the team. He's an 84 overall. He's kind of been in that mid-80s range. I feel like that's kind of normal for what Hartenstein is, and I think it's kind of right. And then you have our 2 big defensive guys in Alex Caruso. He's at an 82 overall, and Lou Dort is at an 80 overalls to kind of round out the Thunder's team of 80. And then to wrap it up, the Thunder for the Final Four had a tie, all at 79 overall, 4 players at 79 overall, being Aaron Wiggins, Isaiah Joe, J. Will Williams, and it was Wallace. So Wallace, Wiggins, Joe, and J. Will Williams are all 79 overall. Kind of interesting. Feels like Wallace or maybe even a Wiggins kind of earned that 80 overall nod, but apparently not according to 2K. But 2K's ratings kind of are whack, so nothing crazy to take in effect, but just something for the 2K fans out there, the video games guys, that the OKC ratings have been released. So just kind of some ratings and statistics on those for you guys. But we'll transition to now. It is Jalen Williams Day in OKC. Obviously, tomorrow will be the last day of all the Thunder players getting their own day in OKC. Today is the second to last day, being JDub. And I mean, what more? We talked about him obviously just a few seconds ago with the 2K26 rating, but we learned that he was playing on a hurt wrist from I believe it was the Denver Nuggets series, and to go out there and in a Game 5 where it's tied 2-2, and you know, Game 5s are pretty much deciding the series almost every single time when it is tied 2-2, and to go out there and drop 40, and then him come out and a few days ago say he wasn't even like, he'd even realize he dropped 40 afterwards because he was just so in the zone of we need to win, and that was just really cool to hear that even on games like that where that was without a doubt his best game as a Thunder yet and most pivotal game, he wasn't even worried about how many points he had. He was more focused on the fact that we needed a win, and that just kind of shows how team-oriented and they only care about winning and playing for each other and not stats at all, and that just proves it anymore. And he's been in the news, obviously, for that. He also got his rookie extension just like Chet. His was a bit more, 5 years, 286, matches Paolo Banchero's rookie extension. So now obviously there's talks about Paolo versus JDub, who's better, and all of that nonsense because people love to compare players. So if you guys want me to do a topic over that, let me know down below, and I'm sure I can get a topic on that just to kind of fuel the fire. But the 5-year 287 signed it a day after Chet's rookie extension. We kind of figured JDub would be right around that Paolo kind of match price range because of how similar they are. And Chet getting the 5 years 250 at 50, we knew JDub would be just a little bit over that because of him earning the All-NBA, the All-Defensive Team, and just has been healthier and been able to play and prove how much better he has gotten over these past couple of seasons to everybody to earn that extra few $1 million. But to wrap up, we will be talking about a trade rumor for you guys today. Another possible trade rumor. The Thunder are always going to be linked to guys like this just because of how flexible the Thunder's roster is with picks and certain players on the bench. Player we're going to kind of talk about today is Matisse Thybulle. Obviously not a major name, and I don't necessarily think the Thunder need to go out and get a major name if they were to do trades at the trade deadline or in the offseason or whatever it might be. But Matisse Thybulle is a guy who is going to be making just over $11 million in this upcoming season. He accepted the team option from the Portland Trailblazers, and he's a guy who is a big wing. He's 6'5" wing, going to be the size about JDub. He is a guy who shoots about 48% from the field, averages 7.5 or so. But he's just one of those guys that plays high quality minutes. Just another guy that will play defense, and the Thunder just kind of love to build around those guys. The reason I say Matisse Thybulle could be a guy that the Thunder get is because I believe Ousmane Dieng is the Portland Trailblazers is one of the top teams I could see Ousmane Dieng getting traded to, and I think if they wanted to swap players in the Portland Trailblazers, save a few $1 million because Ousmane Dieng will only be making $7 million. They're going to save $4 million off their books, and the Thunder are able to, even with the cap and all of that flexing around next year, the Thunder will still be about $5 million under the first apron even. So it won't even affect the Thunder that much. It'll only raise their salary by a few million as well. So for the Thunder's perspective is getting a guy who, and Ousmane Dieng wasn't going to play for you in rotational minutes, to a guy who is another NBA veteran just like Caruso, has experience in the league. Obviously the Thunder don't need that now, but still to have guys like Matisse Thybulle who's been around the league, who knows how to play around the league, who has been around and just can provide some high-quality veteran minutes and even help the younger guys still. I mean, the Thunder are still so young, it doesn't hurt to keep having these guys learn more from veterans who's been around and just continue to help grow their game. So I think if it were, he could definitely be a guy who it'd be like a thing where the Thunder just want to get rid of Ousmane Dieng, and they think Matisse Thybulle could be a guy who just gets some high-quality minutes in there on the bench units when we can play 12, 13 guys on a nightly basis. So I'm interested to hear what you guys think. Maybe you think it's not worth trading for a guy like that who you guys might necessarily not think is worth the $11 million contract. But let me know down below, guys. That'll be it for me today, guys. Hit the subscribe button down below, hit the like goal, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.